Welcome to my life on paper. I am Brianna, and I am so excited to be joining a new series called Creating with Sketches, the Scrapbook Process Collaboration featuring sketches by Allison Davis. We are using the Creating with Sketches sketchbook. I will put a link below. And I have been using Scrapbook Generation sketches for years and years. I started with close to my heart sketches and moved on to Scrapbook Generation. They have so many different sketches, and now you can even find sketches on Pinterest and all over the internet. So here you see me using my Scrapbook Generation paper. They have a couple of their own lines. Yes, it is glossy. And this collection is just so bright and vibrant. It's just my jam. So the sketches that the group of sketches that we're using, I like I said, I've used Scrapbook Generation sketches before, but this one, I mean, you think you know how to change a sketch, and I'm sure you do, but this opened my eyes to so many different ways to use the sketch. So first, what I'm doing is picking out my papers. I want kind of more of a solid tone for the background because there is just going to be so much bright color. There is going to be a strip across the middle, and then there's going to be a square piece that's framed by the background. And so I'm looking at that honeycomb paper as that square in the background. There's also going to be like a couple thin strips with the stripes there, and that you can see that paper that I'm choosing there. And then there will be another, well, I shouldn't say another, there'll be I think it's a 4x4 piece band that goes across the middle. So I trim off the branding strip and found out, oh, no, this is where I'm making it a square to go on the background. When I trim down the background though, it is actually a little bit longer than 12 by 12, which is amazing because you've time and time again you find these papers that are shorter than 12 by 12. 12 by 12 is great, but to have a little bit of wiggle room is even better. Here I am cutting down my strips, and then I will go looking for what I want to use for the solid band across the middle, and I know it's going to be another solid color of paper, or something that reads solid. You can see there's a graph paper on that green, and the yellow is polka dots, but it really reads solid and it's not so busy. So each of these sketches, I don't know how many variations it has. A lot. There's and I don't know how many sketches are actually in this book either. But Allison Davis is amazing. I mean, I've also taken sketches where, you don't. I'm going to use 3x3 photos. Well, you totally could mix this up and like use them in different ways. For instance, you could use 4x4 photos and get rid of that yellow strip. You could use two 4x6. You could trim down the 4x6. You could do a two-page layout and do 6 photos. You can do a two-page layout and do 4 photos. It's just like it just in black and white, literally. It gives it to you in like a bazillion, and I'm obviously stretching it, but a bazillion different ways. I love I am not with Creative Memories. I love their punches. I get the ones that are just more patterns that aren't like themed, so that you could use it on any layout. So here I'm using it's not scalloped. Is it called lace? I don't know, something like that. And I trim it off. Now here I'm like, oh, this one is an inch wide. So once it's punched, that border is an inch wide. Here I'm trimming it to make it, it was a little wonky. I didn't cut it straight, so now it's straight. I cut it off an inch, throw it in the punch, and realize you need a bigger piece of paper than what the punched part comes out at, or you're going to see in a second, like it's barely keeping together. I needed to make this wider than an inch. And I was like, oh my, maybe I did this on mistake. So let's do it again. Oh, goodness gracious, that is the way it's going to be. So don't make any mistakes or it will fall apart. And the nice thing about it is that the one that is thicker, I can tuck under that striped strip, and this one is going to sit on top of the striped strip, so they will look like they're cut exactly the same. And I hope that makes sense. But certainly ask me questions if you have any questions. But these punches, for lack of a better term, they punch like butter. They're amazing. So I have several, and I should grab them out more than I do. Now, this border is not part of the sketch, but it was I had some punches sitting out. Um, I like to use, when I say my stash, I mean paper, punches, all that kind of things, consumables and not consumables. Um, and I think this pattern kind of softens things up, maybe not softens, but tones it down, where there's just so many bright colors on the page. This gives you a calming effect, or your eyes are rest from all that bright color. I am using the same pattern paper that I used for the border, the punched border. I'm using to back my photos. And there you have it. And I'll get it glued down with my ATG. This layout took me so long. I work, well, 2 days a week, except for if I work a weekend, I work 4. Those 4 days or 3 days or what have you that I work in a row, I don't get to do my creative outlet. I don't get to do my scrapbooking. So when I get back on and get going again, it takes me a little bit to get going, to get the juices flowing. So I can only imagine how it is for people when they've taken a break for a week or a month or longer. So be kind to yourself if you haven't been scrapbooking for a little bit. It certainly takes a little bit to get back into gear. Here's where you'll see what I mean. At first I tucked it down really far, and then I was like, oop, wait a minute, this isn't going to work. Let's pull it back out. Let's scoot it up. It's going to sit on top of the yellow so that then that striped strip can overlap the punch part, and it'll give the same effect as the one that I did so short, or so thin. And in my smaller pieces, I definitely like using the liquid glue, the Barely Art Glue, because it is just so easy to use that thin nozzle and get it right on that thin strip rather than trying to get ATG and then getting the ATG stuck all over the table and everything. So here's that thin strip. And I don't do it all the way across because I need somewhere to hold it. So, and it holds so nice that it does not need to be glued all the way across. Now, if I had glued that down and then figured out I wanted to tuck something underneath it, it sets up pretty quickly. That would have been trouble. This ATG though, especially on this glossy paper, is very easy to pull up and put back down again. And I think when I'm doing the title, I will pick something up that has been glued. So here is part of the Scrapbook Generation letter tags. And I think I've made a couple different layouts, not recently, but a couple different layouts with these letters. So right now I'm going, okay, the name of the restaurant is Rumfish Grill. Let's make the title. And here I go. And this is why the video is so long, and I apologize. I did speed it up. Here we have rum. We're getting to fish. Where's grill? I don't think I ever found an S, honestly. But I certainly didn't find that L. So then I changed gears, but you have to look through all your letters 5 times. And when I first pull them out, they're all random colors. I don't necessarily pay attention. You'll see the U's sitting up there. I don't necessarily pay attention to the color. I'm just making sure I have all the letters. So I switch gears then, and instead of Rumfish Grill, it's going to be Florida. And I'm thinking, could I do fun in Florida? But I do believe you will see that I don't have 2 F's. So from there, and I don't know how long it takes me to figure this out, I've got Florida. And again, you can see the 2 yellows next to each other. Here we go. It's going to be night in Florida. I do believe I don't have an N, but I will find a solution for that. So we have night. Oh, I'm sorry, not night. Okay, night out in Florida. How quickly I forget. And here is where then I start switching out. And once you start switching out a lot of them, because if you're putting the red D, there's a red R, so then the R becomes orange. But it's kind of a fun puzzle. So night out in Florida. These stars are also part of, they're cutouts. So I have cut those out ahead of time, obviously. It's a good relaxing thing to do when you have a Zoom meeting. You know, some people crochet, some people knit, some people cut out their cut parts. So, good use of time. And I'm getting laid out, and pretty soon I'll figure out, oh my gosh, and it says big title on the sketch, which Allison Davis usually has. Oh, here are my flare. But pretty soon I'm going to figure out that's a really big long title. So here I am pulling out my flare. I have some that are kind of random colors, and they can be kind of harder to use. So I'm just pulling out anything that might work, and then I know I'm going to pick 3. And then as I go, I will subtract the ones that have blue in them, because it's just not the same blue as what is on my page. So those 3 on top will be what stays, because they are orange and green and yellow, and they really, well, other than the green is the wrong shade, but I'm looking past that. Don't look too closely. So here I am going to figure out where my title is going, and I don't want to cover up too much of the photo. I mean, obviously part of the photo that doesn't have is the plate. I'm not worried about. The food is what I wanted to remember. We went recently, we took our 3 girls to Florida. We went out for a nice dinner. It was it's actually tomorrow is middle daughter Meredith's birthday. So we celebrated her birthday that day. And I've got night out in that little heart tag. I'm going to put an I and an N on. So night out in Florida. Here is where, okay, these are Ellie's Studio. They're letter stickers. But I'm showing you that you can take an ink and ink over the letters. Now you can mask them, you can take them off and put them somewhere else to put the ink on them. This is a close to my heart, and it's called Orange. It's extremely retired. And it's not as bright as that orange, but I'm okay. So I kind of just masked it with my fingers so I wouldn't get it on the other letters. And then I'm going to lay it on this heart, and I think that it's pretty perfect for that. Because I think without that not tab, flag, banner, it would have just looked out of place to say night out, and then just the IN in the orange just would have looked odd. So that was just so perfect. Here I have Paper Studio, not twine, string, and so that I pulled out for my banners so that they don't look like they're just floating out there. And this is where I decide on the 3 flare that I'm using. I'm going to move this title around a little bit, and I will kind of do some of this off camera. But I had a couple different ideas. But here it just looked too jumbled. And I knew I wanted a tag on the top and a tag on the bottom, kind of where her clusters are in the sketch. But the title just wasn't doing it for me. So I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to do it then. Or should I move a tag? So here I am trying it up on the top. Oh, which didn't last very long. And then I do decide to split them up. It's going to say night out, and then on the bottom in Florida. And that allows me to put the title onto the green spaces, not over the hexagons, because there's already so much color. Plus I wanted to see the hexagons. And then it also allows me room to do my 2 clusters. So here's my Crocodile. It is a very expensive hole puncher. It also does eyelets, which I don't very often pull out, but I have a lot in my stash, so I should. And here I'm gonna, I think off camera, and I might have, okay, I've done it already. I've put adhesive foam tape underneath the title. So Night Out in Florida is all adhered down. The tag is for journaling. I'm going to get the string in a different color. It's going to be the green and white striped. That's going to go on the tag holes. The string that goes under the title is going to be yellow and white. And I attached these tags with a lot of ATG. You will not see me use a lot of ATG because it just works really well. You don't need a lot. A little goes a long way. But man, I was thinking, oh, it's glossy paper. I should really give it a lot of ATG. On the back of that paper that's like the square, the hexagon square, there's not a lot of ATG. It's on like a little bit on each corner. Here I want to, while I was messing around with the stars, I'm going to use a lot less stars than what I originally thought I would. And I think it's really because I thought I had a lot more real estate. But once you get all these things on with all the colors going, it didn't make sense, and it was going to be hard to get a lot more stars on. So I will kind of, I wanted the string to look kind of natural, like you just kind of laid it down. So I don't want it to look straight across. But I wanted to kind of give it an up and down, but again, it doesn't have that much room. So it was really kind of hard to get that effect. I have these wood arrows. They're blue and they're green. And I put those, they were sitting on my desk for a while. In fact, I think I got them a year ago. Gosh, time flies, you guys. I think I've had them a year. And so these were the two last colors I had, and they matched. It's the only wood veneer I have on there. I'm okay with that. But I was so glad to get them on this page. And here I am just trying to see like what makes sense as far as these stars, and neither one of those stars end up on that page. And see, I get that orange tag. There is no room for that big red star. So instead I use two smaller ones. I'm going to use a, oh no, there's the purple one says yes please because it's dessert. So yes please dessert. And then I'm going to use that blue one that has a camera on it. On the other side, that is a Nicole Jones 911 printable, that yellow, and I'm going to pull out a couple more different things from Nicole Jones. But the red piece that I cut out says worth 1,000 words, and that goes right underneath that cheesecake there. Those purple arrows are also Nicole Jones 911, and there is a purple arrow underneath that's a little bit bigger. It's kind of chunky. It says family, and that works just perfect there. So I layer the worth 1,000 words, which is the from the Scrapbook Generation. It's on glossy paper, along with the purple arrow printables. And then I think I might be getting the flare out next. Yep. So trying to figure out, I know I want 3. Kind of get my visual triangle. I will have listed below everybody that is playing along with creating with sketches. We are playing on the first day of every month. And I'll be using this sketchbook much more often. It's digital, in case I didn't say that. They are digital sketches, and which is perfect because then you can bring them up on I've got them sitting on my iPad as we speak. Super easy to use and very handy. So I will figure out where to get the flare down. And these are my Ellie Studio puffy stickers that I love. If I eventually use them up, I might have to get some more. And it's what I use on my flare often. I feel like I'm a little bit cheating just because I have a go-to thing that I do every time, but it is just a nice little dimensional element, and then a different pop of color on the flare. Friends, I'm going to give it a try to do follow a sketch February and do a layout every day. And in some cases, there might be 2 or 3 videos a day. Now, I'm not making any promises. I'm so sorry. But I'm going to do my best because I just love sketches. And I've got all my pictures set up for every day of February. So be watching for that. Here I am just getting everything glued down. I do glue that Nicole Jones 911 printable. Here you'll see me kind of get the string under the title tags. And I want, again, I kind of want a natural like up and down motion. I don't want them straight across, but I get my scissors out so that I've got something to kind of play with the string, and the glue works really well to hold that string down exactly where you want it then. So that's what I do there. And as far as one of my New Year's resolutions was to keep track of how many pages I do, because I'm really bad at being able to keep track of them. So I think I'm at 40. I could be right around there somewhere for January. So I'm doing well of keeping track so far. And my other item that I want to do is kind of make sure I get 30 layouts done a month, which I don't think will be a problem for me either. There are those LA Studio puffy stickers going down on each of the flare. And I'm getting towards the end. I'm just trying to glue everything down now and get it in place. This I'll be using. Maybe I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I'm going to be using these sketches again. I could actually take this layout itself and do multiples, and no one would know that you're using the same sketch. But super excited to be using the different sketches. So there are 5 one-page layouts in this sketchbook and 5 two-page layouts, but all of the one-page ones tells you how to make it a two-page, or helps guide you to make a two-page, because it doesn't tell you how to do anything. It's just making a bunch of suggestions. Here I take some washi tape to adhere the string down to make sure it stays wrapped around the edge of the pages, and I just grabbed a washi that I don't use very often. So here you will see soon the finished page, and watch for the finishing the pages at the end. I hope you have a fabulous day, and I'll see you again soon.